big data Hadoop session here. Okay, here I want to ensure I give you a couple of notifications to make sure before we get into the things here. Okay, so among them, the couple of things are going to be in this particular session. It is a blend of demonstration and then providing you the overview with respect to this particular Hadoop, along with the first class where we are going to do this particular session from 9 to 10. First thing is that you already know that there are traditional computing systems where earlier people used to have single nodes, okay. Using those particular single nodes, that is a place where we store the data, process the data, and then do whatever operations we want to do. We'll be doing on that particular data itself, right? We'll be doing on that particular data itself, okay. But what happens is those particular systems will be having a certain capability to store the data, okay. When you try to store beyond that particular data, what happens is those systems crashes. The reason is that beyond a certain point, you will not be able to store much on that particular systems. Basically, you will not be able to store much on those particular systems. So, example is right now, what are the systems what you are seeing in terms of laptops and all? You can store something like 500 gigabytes to 1 terabyte of data, as well as you will be having something like 8 gigabytes to 12 gigabytes of RAM that you'll be using for processing that particular data. Beyond that extent, you cannot store or process that particular data. But for any data what you're having in terms of databases, there are three things which are very important. Very much important. Okay, one is storage of data, second one is processing of data, and third one is analysis of data. These are the three things which are important. Now, see here. When you get into this data explosion, earlier you are having only the data that is structured in nature, which is in the form of tables, rows, and CSV files and Excel files. Okay, yes. But now what has happened is the data is exploding. In what way the data is exploding? You have your data coming from social networking systems, online systems, retail banking, okay, sensors, satellites, networking logs. So from so many places you are trying to get that particular data. And what is happening here? What you want to do with that particular data? These are all the sources. Here, when you use your data warehousing applications, your data was there in the form of gigabytes or at a max terabyte. But now, what is happening is that you are having petabytes of data or hexabytes of data or zettabytes of data. Like that, your data is totally growing. So when that much data is totally growing, what happens is you might not have a single storage system that will be able to accommodate, process and manipulate that particular data. That is the reason what we are doing is that we are tending towards a type of architecture which is nothing but a distributed framework architecture. What is a distributed framework architecture? Your data nowhere is going to be there in the form of a single node, but the data is going to be spread across multiple nodes within the group of computer nodes. And what we do is that we call such type of group of computing nodes as a cluster. We call that particular group of computing nodes as a cluster. Okay, so the data is exploding here. Now, so I hope, Venkat, this is the platform where you are working on right now, right? You have your data sources, you are having your traditional databases, enterprise data warehouses like that you are having, and then you are having these business applications that will be able to process that particular data.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Now the question is, if we want to include this Hadoop architecture into this particular landscape, where should we include? Is it that when we are trying to include do we need to decommission all these particular platforms and then altogether move on to a new platform as a sudden change? These are all the questions that will be coming to any particular person, like the questions what you have posed now, right? So what happens is when you're trying to introduce your big data here in the form of your Hadoop ecosystem, automatically what happens is I'll introduce this enterprise data Hadoop platform here. But now what happens here? Traditional systems will try to continue using your existing applications itself, but you're going to have these new sources. What are these new sources? These new sources are nothing but your structured along with the unstructured and semi-structured data also as well. It will be coming. All this data will be going into this Hadoop enterprise platform. All this particular data will be going into this Hadoop enterprise platform. Now you have integrated or else you have plugged your Hadoop enterprise platform into this existing ecosystem. But what will you do here? This is one thing that is very much important. Here what I do is I try to capture all this particular data here. I process the data within this Hadoop ecosystem platform. Then I try to exchange this data with respect to this traditional reporting systems. I try to exchange this data with the existing traditional systems. And the next thing what I do is that I use these applications, I use these business intelligence applications for the purpose of processing and analyzing that particular data. Some of you are understanding, right? What exactly is happening here?
Yeah, Ravi. Can you hear me, Ravi?
Yeah, I can hear you, Samay. Yeah. Any questions from your side?
Right. So just a quick one. So when we introduce a new sources, right? Still, and when we introduce a new like Hadoop platform, still it has to go via traditional systems or the step 3, and it has to hit the database so that the BI tools and all can generate the meaningful results out of it.
This is one way of interpreting the architecture. Okay, and another way of interpreting the architecture is see here. I directly use this data and I develop some custom applications that will use this particular big data as the platform for the purpose of analyzing that particular data itself. Okay, so in such a case, what happens here? Your existing systems becomes undisturbed here. Your existing systems becomes undisturbed in this particular case summary here. Okay.
In the previous one, one last question, Ravi, is the previous one. How are we going to store our mails and all unstructured data into the structured database? Because all traditional systems are structured database. So how are we going to process those via this?
See, when I say you that we are going to transfer some data into this traditional systems, it is not something like all the data is going to be transferred to the traditional systems. Whatever the data that is required, I can have the ability to convert my unstructured data into the structured form, and only that piece of information will be passed on to the traditional systems. But I cannot transfer my unstructured data into the structured format. That is not possible. Samay.
Got it. Thanks for that clarification.
So Ravi, I have one question. Like when you say the exchange, so you mean the commonalities between the traditional systems and this unstructured data, right? Only that you will exchange and you will pass into the traditional systems.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
For example, if you have a customer and you have a customer mails in an unstructured format, so only the customer is the common key, and you pass only that mail information into the traditional systems, not whole bunch of data.
Not the whole bunch of data. What is required, only that data will be passed. Okay.
So that will be saved in traditional systems or Hadoop platform, in where it is saved. I mean, whatever exchange data, the common data, where it will saved in a traditional format or in a Hadoop platform.
In Hadoop also, you have two types of platforms. Venkat, you have the structured form as well as you have this unstructured form also as well. Okay. So whatever is agreeable between the protocols of those two things, only the data will be exchanged, and other data will not be exchanged. Okay, this is one option. I'm just telling you the possible options that you can have when you're trying to plug and play your Hadoop ecosystem into the existing landscape. This is one option. The other option is don't disturb that one and then start processing your data as it is. Start processing your data as it is.
Okay, all right, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Now, the other option what you're having here is explore the data, and this is the option what you're having here. Okay, but what is big data? Big data, see, big data is something that we cannot measure in terms of gigabytes or petabytes. Okay, whenever your existing traditional systems might not have that capability to store, process, and analyze that particular data, that is a place where data itself will be becoming a part of the problem. Okay, that is a place where we start looking for a new platform. That is a place where we start looking for a new platform. It is biological effect also as well, right? Suppose when you are on Oracle or when you are on data warehousing using Informatica or business objects or SAP, the whole entire market is saturated. Okay, when it is getting difficult to get the new job in that market in the same technology, what we do? We look for the new technologies. Obviously, that is the case, right? So technology is also going to be the same. Technology also is going to be the same here. Technology is going to be the same in this particular case. Okay. Now, big data when it becomes a problem here. So you have seen the current solutions, what you are having here. Current databases are designed only for the structured data, optimized to answer your questions quickly, and they are schema oriented, right? Without having a schema, you will not be able to process your data. You will not be able to process your data, and it is also expensive at petabyte of scale. So this is the problems what you are having with respect to the current database solutions. Okay, in order to overcome such type of problems, what has been done is that, and one more thing, traditional databases are expensive to scale and by difficult to distribute also as well. So that's why what we are talking about is I don't want to store the data in a single system. I really don't want to store the data in a high-end technical systems also as well. But what I'm interested is I'm interested in trying to split my data across multiple pieces. I would like to split my data across multiple pieces. Okay, and each and every piece of split of data can be stored in small computer systems, and those particular systems are nothing but the commodity hardware, but they are cheap and powerful, so that I want to distribute the data across all the nodes within the network. That is a place where Hadoop is expected to come into the picture, or big data is expected to come into the picture. Venkat, you are understanding what I'm talking about?
So is it not cloud-based? I mean, do we need any hardware to save this data?
Obviously, hardware is required to save this data, right? Hardware is required to save this data. So for the purpose of having this hardware, that hardware might be on your on-premise or else it might be on the cloud. Doesn't matter. Okay. But what you need, you don't need only one system, but you need to have something like thousands of systems, which are basically used to process this particular data and then store the data. That is a place where big data is expected to chime in. Okay, scale out is the way to go. Okay, so Hadoop App Store, I think that is the irrelevant slide at this point of time, but why are we trying to use this particular Hadoop is trying to answer your questions here. Okay, see, Hadoop can handle any type of data. First thing is it can handle structured data along with unstructured data. It doesn't matter whether you have the schema or not. It can process your high volume, along with it can also process your low volume. For low volume, okay, I don't prefer to use this particular Hadoop, but still, whatever data it might be, so that means that volume of the data is not going to be the limit for your Hadoop. That's what I mean to say. Okay, and it can also have the option of processing all the kinds of your analytical applications so as well. This is one option. Got it? And second thing is that Hadoop grows with your business. Earlier it was proven at terabyte of scale. Now automatically what is happening here? Capacity and performance grows simultaneously. You are seeing here, right, in the previous diagrams, whenever the big data is exploding, the data is exploding here in the previous cases. What happens is I don't want to put a limit onto my storage systems or my processing systems and then say that, hey, I'm done with the storage, I'm done with the processing is something that I want to have. I don't want to have. So that's why scalability and capacity is not going to be a limit for this particular piece. So that's why one thing what you can say is that capacity and performance always grow simultaneously. And one more thing is that I also would like to leverage this commodity hardware to mitigate the costs. So okay, so in this commodity hardware, what happens is see here. In this commodity hardware, what happens is there are two things that will happen. First thing is I really don't want to spend thousands of dollars on the expensive computer systems, but what I want to do is that I would like to spend that amount of money on purchasing some 100 computers for the purpose of storing and processing the data. For the purpose of storing and processing the data. Okay, that is another thing. He told that Munira told that you have told that you have been working on Oracle, right? Oracle is a closed platform where it is licensed. You need to purchase the licenses with the thousands of dollars for the purpose of utilizing those components. But one thing is that this Hadoop is an 100% open source. You're having an Apache software framework, okay, where all the applications what I have shown you here, whatever all the applications what I have shown you here, right, Venkat? Okay, all these things, all the applications what you are seeing here, all the apps what you are seeing here, they are the part of your Apache software project. Example, the HDFS, the MapReduce, okay, the HCatalog, the Peak, the Hive, the HBase, Ambari, Avro, and this first line what you are seeing here, they are the part of your Apache software framework, okay, which is basically used to process, store, and analyze that particular data, and all that particular code is readily available. All that particular code is readily available in your data, in your libraries, so that you can start plugging and playing those particular applications. So that's why it is 100% open source, no vendor locking in, community developed, and a rich ecosystem of related projects. In the first slide, I have shown you that it is going to be the all these particular ecosystems what you are seeing here, they are nothing but your ecosystems that has been developed out of this one here. Okay, all these particular things are going to be the part of your ecosystem that you are going to develop. Okay, the next thing what we need to see here is that is reason why we are trying to move on to this Hadoop. So in a nutshell, in case if anybody asks you why you want to move to Hadoop, there are two things that we can say. That is, my current existing systems, the traditional OLTP and OLAP doesn't have the provision to store petabytes of data, doesn't have the provision to store, doesn't have the provision to process all the data at once, doesn't have the provision to analyze your data real time. So that's why I'm trying to look for a new architecture, and that new architecture is nothing but your big data. Within this particular big data, what I would like to do is within this particular big data, what I would like to do is that I would like to have an efficient distributed computing system, okay, that can have the capability of storing, processing, and analyzing that particular data with all the open source components that are available as the part of your Apache software library. That's the reason I want to use this particular Hadoop. I, in the sense, the entire company is what you're talking about. So that's why Hadoop helps you to drive the complete valueness of your data. Okay, so let me tell you what exactly it is. Samay, I hope you are following, right, Samay? Suppose if I go to this Amazon.com, okay, when you open your Amazon.com, Samay, will you be seeing these products or you'll be seeing a different products? Please tell me.
I will see the different product, not this one.
Yeah. Not this one. What is the reason? The reason
Because
is this intelligence which has been built into your websites, right? Which has been built into your web browser. So that means that what happens is behind the screens there are a couple of machine learning algorithms that will try to take the demographics of your site analysis, understand what are the products what you are purchasing, and then it will try to provide you the list of all the products that you tend to purchase. Okay, but by seeing these particular products, might be you have got a particular analysis about me. I'm crazy about these electronics, basically, such type of things, basically, right? Such type of. Similarly, a news for you is that you have this particular Python is there, the Kaji life, and all these things are coming up, and then mother's gifts. These are the things that you are having here. The related to the items you would use these things. Inspired by your shopping trends is this one. Like that, it is going to provide you each and every and recommendations for your Kindle store. The reason is that these books are not there in my Kindle store, but see here, but other things are there. If you go to the library, you'll be able to see these are the books that I'm having. So that's why it is going to suggest the other set of books which I need to purchase. So obviously, when I start seeing, what happens is that I'll tend to purchase those particular books. So such type of analytics that you want to do. So earlier, Venkat, when you're working on your data warehousing or business intelligence systems, what you do, whatever the junk data that you're having, you will take out that particular junk and then keep only the clean data in your databases, right? That's what you do. Here, in the case of this big data and Hadoop, what we do is that I consider every piece of data as a valuable data. Okay, why? Because there might be some hidden treasures that might be existing in that particular junk data also as well. That's why I want to process that data. For the purpose of processing the data, I want to have a new such type of efficient algorithms, the new such type of efficient storage, new type of efficient analytical techniques that I want to use for the purpose of getting this data processed. That's the reason I would like to go with this particular data here. Venkat, you are following?
Yes. I have one question. So just it's a basic question maybe. Like if a client, let's say it's a big client and he want to implement a Hadoop in his company, for example. So like what are the things he has to invest in the starting, like in the money perspective? Like he has to buy some 100 computers, like 100 hardwares, distribute using this open source thing. So what is a cost involved in the hardware stuff? I mean, what is the thing besides that RDBMS, relational databases?
See, the cost involved in, but I don't want to tell you the exact figures at this point of time. If I say, yeah, I'm a fool. What I can, no. What I'm saying is the cost involved in purchasing all those 100 systems or 200 systems, what you're having, is compulsorily going to be lesser cost when you try to purchase 2 or 3 high techno-end computer systems. Obviously, that is going to be the case. Okay. So the economics and the financial calculations, this is something that will do it when we start doing this particular pricing analysis. We'll be doing at that point of time. Okay. So in a nutshell,
initially
the case.
So initially he has to invest on buying that 100 computers, whatever the decision they made, right? So that is the initial starting point to implement this Hadoop in his company.
Venkat, I'm just asking you one thing. Okay. Assuming that I'm not getting into your personal details, assuming that you are working right now. Okay. You are working, you have a job, and then you are learning your livelihood and everything. Assuming that I'm doing this one. Okay. Now I see a dead end in my career right now. I see a dead end in my career right now, and I think that beyond a certain point I cannot proceed further. Then what I do? I'll not keep mum, right? Wherever it is possible, I'll try to take some extra funds and then divert that funds to enhance my career skills, enhance my technical skills in order to procure a new job. So I don't mind spending that particular amount. The reason is, within the next few months of time, I'm going to get the benefit, right? The same thing is going to apply here also as well. That's what I'm. So that's why organizations doesn't hesitate. In case organizations instead of hesitating, they're willing to invest. They are willing to invest. Okay, so if you want to see the different types of organization has been invested, these are all the things which you have already invested. So these are all the hundreds of deployments that has been done using big data and all. Okay, now coming to your thing, what you are talking about. This answers your question. Earlier, what you are having here, you are having your OLTP systems, you are having your data warehouses. But what we did here, we use your ETL processing and all for the purpose of extracting the data and loading the data into this one, and then start utilizing your business intelligence application. This is what is your plain vanilla ecosystem that you have used. Plain vanilla ecosystem that you have used here. Okay, but when you start adding to this Hadoop to this particular mix, what happens here? Business intelligence applications can also start utilizing this Hadoop. Nowadays, since you told that you have been working on data warehousing and business intelligence, what is happening here right now? Every ETL tool for that matter, be it Informatica, DataStage, Ab Initio, okay, SSIS for that particular matter, or any reporting tool you take, business objects, MicroStrategy, Cognos, and all these particular tools have got a built-in privileges that can have built-in ODBC drivers or another drivers that can directly connect to the Hadoop for the purpose of fetching that particular data also as well. Okay, so that's why this data warehouse, if you have a data warehouse and transactional systems that are existing, your Hadoop ecosystem can very well integrate into this particular platforms, so that what you can do is that you can bring meaningful analytics out of that particular piece also as well. Okay, that's how your data is going to be totally customized. That's how your data is going to be totally customized in nature in this case. Okay, that's how it is going to be. So this is what we are trying to discuss here. Okay, when we start talking about the functional limits, if you want to focus yourself only as an Hadoop developer or analyst, what you do is that you focus on Hadoop, HDFS, MapReduce, and the ecosystem, what I have told you, and then this particular YAM. Okay, but if you want to focus yourself in DevOps, have you heard about DevOps, Venkat? DevOps.
Just heard about it, don't know much about
it. This is a recent trend here. We need to really look into DevOps. What is this DevOps? People are looking into this one. Enterprise capabilities for software delivery. You are not only the folks that will be starting about development, and you're first start thinking about your operations also as well. Admin related operations also, they will be thinking on this particular pieces. That is what is called as DevOps. So if your aim is to focus both on operations along the development, you do this one. Okay, but your aim is to focus both on development, operations, plus the analytics also as well. You can have the option of trying to focus yourself as a big data architect. You're trying to focus yourself as a big data architect. Okay, so it is up to you in what way you want to hold your career. You have these particular options. Okay, this is how the entire world is going to be in this. So now you have understood big data. Okay, what exactly is going to be in big data? I'll tell you. Here you're going to have something called as the history of Hadoop that exists. History of Hadoop, you can say here. Initially, your projects has been started with a Nudge project, which is a open source web crawler. What is that web crawler? People logging into the websites. People logging into the websites. they start searching some data, and I want to index those particular search engines in order to build an index on each and every page that was visited. So that's how this particular nudge project was created. Okay, so that was the original project that was generated. So the roots of your Hadoop has started from nudge project by the Dow Cutting, who is the inventor of this particular big data technologies and all, but struggling to find a solution to store and process that particular data. Okay, in the middle time, an year later, 2003, Google has come up with its own white papers, which is nothing but the GFS, which is basically used to store the data along with process that particular data. Okay, so now what has happened is that this nudge project has taken the concept from Google file system and MapReduce, and then MapReduce, and what it has done is that it has started developing this particular open source platform, which is called as Hadoop, and then they have found out that particular solution. Okay, and Yahoo has taken this particular Hadoop solution, and then they have implemented this particular 4,000 node cluster. Okay, Venkat, you are talking about 10 systems or 100 systems, but there are solutions which has been in terms of thousands, 4,000, 10,000 systems are also there basically. Okay, that is the Yahoo at that point of time. And a couple of slides back I have told you, yeah, Hadoop has also 1 petabyte mark also as well. But earlier in 2009 itself, Hadoop has a particular terabyte sort benchmark for the purpose of storing the data. Okay, and Facebook also started exploring this one. And finally, what has happened is that your Cloudera, what you are seeing here, which is a distribution that is implementing your big data concepts using Hadoop, has launched its project in 2011 and all. Okay, and there are multiple possible distributions like Hot Networks distribution, okay, Cloudera distributions, Amazon, IBM Big Sites, MapR. Okay, these are all the things that are existing for the purpose of processing your data. Okay, so that's the reason. What is required is we are going to focus on the development module, but within the development module, let me tell you 2 more things here. For the purpose of storing the data, we use this HDFS. HDFS breaks the incoming files into blocks and then storing them redundantly across the cluster. What is this redundancy and replications? These things we'll be seeing it tomorrow. Okay, but core Hadoop comes up with the HDFS, and it also comes up with this MapReduce. As I have told you, right, processing is another component that we process. So for that particular one, you are having a thing called as the MapReduce, which are nothing but a set of Java libraries and algorithms that we use for the purpose of processing that particular data also as well. So that's why. So when you go back to your first slide, what you're going to do is your session is going to cover all these particular concepts without exception. All these particular concepts are going to be discussed in terms of storage, processing, querying, analyzing, administrating, importing and exporting. All those things are going to be discussed in a 30 to 35 period classes. These things are going to be covered in basically here. Okay, so the practical sessions are going to be provided to you. I'll be giving you the virtual machines which you are supposed to install on your laptops, and I'll be giving you the assignments, and then I'll take you through the handout sessions and the practical sessions, which will help you to apply your logics comfortably and then start moving on also as well. That's how the course is going to be, guys.